Hey everybody, I'm Joe Saul-Sehy in Texarkana, Texas, and you're watching GoTarryn TV.
And hello everyone, we're back. Happy Thursday, June 11th. Welcome to today's GoTarryn Skype video blog. As you can see side by side, Joe Saul-Sehy from Texarkana, Texas. Joe, thank you so much for coming on today's video blog show.
Thanks for having me, Taryn. This is going to be fun. I get to ruin your show.
Well, this is going to be a lot of fun. Joe, we're making history right now because for the first time ever, you are the very first financial podcaster that I'm interviewing right here on the GoTarryn TV show.
How about that? I got tingles.
Well, listen, this is returning the favor, kind of. You know, I was so honored to be on your show, and, you know, all the people watching, you're going to see his contact information, of course, at the end of the video blog. Some of you are aware of stackingbenjamins.com. We're going to have a lot of fun here. And if you're not already subscribed to his podcast or listening to a financial podcast, I encourage you strongly to get to know Joe and his team over there at Stacking Benjamin. So the first question I've got for you, Joe, I'm going to just shoot it right out of the ballpark here. I'm not going to lob any softballs. I hope you're okay with that.
Oh, man.
But can you tell me what makes Stacking Benjamins different from the other financial podcasts out there?
Our goal anyway, I'm not sure what listeners find different. The way we created is a little different because we had this idea that there was no car talk for financial discussions on the internet. Most financial discussions were either gurus or talking heads, or they were really technical, or they were just people that didn't know what the heck they were talking about. So our goal is to kind of thread that needle of being people that kind of know what we're talking about, but at the same time, our goal isn't to teach you anything, Taryn. Our goal is just to have fun with money, and if you learn something, you know, we made a big mistake.
I love it. Well, you know, we were talking just for a couple of minutes before we started recording here, and, you know, I wanted to ask you, you know, my father was on your show a couple weeks ago, and as I mentioned just a couple minutes ago, I was on your show. I had the privilege to be on there a couple months ago talking about managing time and managing your energy. But when my father was on there, you know, you were talking about investments, and my dad's a huge fan. And, you know, I realize, you know, for the folks watching, they could see your name and where you're at, Texarkana. Before we started recording, can you tell me a little bit about where you're from, how you ended up there, and a little bit about Texarkana? I know I'm not saying that right.
That's all right. Well, I'm originally from Detroit. I was the Channel 7 money man in Detroit for 9 years. I did media, a lot of media, at the same time that I was a financial advisor. I was a financial advisor for 16 years. Mm-hmm. I got involved with financial planning differently than most people. I was an English major, actually, in college. I was not a financial guy. Oh, and wow. Actually, it's a quote, Taryn, from a friend of mine when I was hired to work at this firm. He said, the quote was, "We don't normally hire people like you, but I think you'd be really good at this." I think it's because I grew up in this little town in southwest Michigan, and I had no idea what engineering was. I thought that was the guy that drove the train. But I have a very my son's in engineering school at the University of Texas, and my brain kind of works that way. So as I began working in finance, I want to know how it works, but I want to know how it works in a way that is very that I can explain to somebody, you know, because I need to explain it to myself from a guy that doesn't have a financial background. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why almost immediately after I started working with the firm is Ameriprise. Mm-hmm. When I started working with Ameriprise, they dragged me into their media division, and I started doing media appearances for them across the country.
Oh, cool.
I sold my business at 40 because of the fact that I had a boss who left the business, not because, like a lot of people, they switch firms. Mm-hmm. They go from one firm to another. That wasn't my deal, or that wasn't his deal. His deal was he wanted to go do something else. And he wrote us this great note the day he left saying, different than most people, I'm not switching firms, I'm not going someplace else. Mm-hmm. I know I like this, but there's other stuff I want to do. So at 35, this guy at the height of his career left the business. And I thought at 40, I thought, you know, there's other things I want to do. So at 40, I sold my business. This guy, by the way, His name's Chris. Chris went and climbed Mount Everest twice after he left financial planning.
That's
Uh,
unbelievable.
I thought I was going to be a high school teacher. And so my wife found a job. We were in Detroit. My wife found a job in Texarkana that was that fit what she liked to do. I could now work from anywhere, go to school anywhere. I was going to go to Texas A&M, Texarkana. And I took some classes, and I was bored silly, Taryn. I was absolutely bored, and I started writing financial stories for friends of mine. And then I realized that the media part was the part that I liked, which is when Stacking Benjamins then was born, because now I get to teach people stuff, but I'm not, teaching high school. I'm teaching people finance all around the world, which is pretty satisfying. And Texarkana, by the way that you pronounce it is it's funny because I pronounced it Texarkana.
Right.
And everybody does, but
Me
when you're
too.
from here, what you learn is it's Texarkana. So think of it as a question: is it Texas or is it Canada? It's
That makes an
crazy.
easy way to remember it.
It's funny.
That's awesome. Now, who came up with the name Stacking Benjamins and how?
Stacking Benjamins was our old show was called Two Guys in Your Money. So if people go back and they look, but Two Guys in Your Money was a nice name. My partner, we call him OG because
Uh-huh.
he's a working certified financial planner,
Uh-huh.
and I had that show, but the name was a little more generic than we were, and we needed a name that was more fun. We needed more relaxed. So we did what I always told a lot of people to do that told me they wanted to start businesses. We got out a whiteboard and we just started writing down names, just as many names, and no name was stupid. Well, actually, most of them were stupid. But you know what I mean? We said, no matter how silly it was, let's put it down. And I think Stacking Benjamins was maybe I don't know, like the 50th or 60th name. And then we shortened the list, and Stacking Benjamins kept making the cut. And then we were very surprised when the URL was still available. Like, we got down to a list of 10,
Yeah.
and we went to that list to see if we could get the site.
Yeah.
And we were
Yeah.
so surprised to see that stackingbenjamins.com was still there, so we grabbed it. And initially it was kind of rough. I mean, initially you grow into a brand becomes what you want it to be.
Mhm.
Whether you're a personal trainer or you're a financial advisor, whatever, you create the brand.
Mhm.
So initially the name Stacking Benjamins, I thought it was neat, but now it's kind of cool because the one thing we hear from a lot of people all the time is they love our name, and I think it's because it's kind of goofy, which is us.
It is. You nailed it right on the head. We're both very similar. A lot of my viewers, they know that I'm a crazy, branded guy, and
You are.
it's funny because both of our avatars, in fact, are a cartoon little icon of each other. And I think I mentioned that the last time I was on your show. And so, great minds think alike. But that's what I was taught. Always being goofier, crazier, than you stand out more. I think that's a great way to brand yourself. Let me ask you, how did you end up meeting OG?
I can't tell you that because
Fine.
unfortunately, well, I'll tell you why, because your viewers don't know.
Hmm.
So we have this thing in financial planning called compliance. And
Right.
compliance means that we have to, whatever we say anything, like when I was doing media for Ameriprise, I was one of 12 people in the country that were allowed to speak on behalf of Ameriprise without getting compliance approval first. I
Wow.
actually somebody that got compliance approval afterwards. Like
Wow.
they would review my tape after. But that was way the exception. So for OG to actually do our show, we would have to submit a full script of what he was going to say, and then he'd have to have that reviewed by compliance officers who would change everything. He didn't want to go through any of that. Uh, and we want to talk kind of unfiltered about what financial advisors do. And a
Sure.
lot of people, so you remember there was that magician for a while on TV that wore the bag over his head
Oh yeah.
and would give away all the tricks.
Yep.
OG wanted to be that guy. And now the bad news for him, he doesn't get any clients from what he does. He doesn't solicit, he doesn't do any of that, which he could probably do if he wasn't anonymous.
Sure.
But it's also a way for him to say unfiltered truths without having to do that. But I'll say this. So I've known him for a long time. He's a guy that has done media with me before, so he and I knew each other from previous media stuff. And when I was thinking about somebody to partner with, he was one of the first people that came to mind because whenever he was doing media with me in the past, he was always great radio. The guy just, he's just great radio.
Yeah.
He's emotional and says whatever the heck he thinks, and sometimes that's dangerous. but 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 I don't know. He also he shocks me with some of the stuff that he says, just how unfiltered it is. So I like that.
That's good. That's real gritty and raw. I like it.
Yes.
You had mentioned, Joe, just at the beginning of the video blog about your son. When we were playing email tag last week, you had mentioned some kind of bicycle ride up. One of the sons, your son was taken to up to Anchorage. I'm like, can you go into that a little bit and tell the viewers out there what in the world that's all about?
It was actually really cool, Taryn, because a lot of our listeners actually helped us raise money for this in November. We
Yeah.
had this deal. So he got involved with this thing called the Texas 4000, and what that is it's a group of. It started off with a group of 90 students at the University of Texas.
Okay.
Ended up being 72 that made it through the program to the ride,
Okay.
and the ride is they go from Austin, Texas. They ride to Anchorage, Alaska.
Uh-huh.
Today, as we're talking, he just crossed out. He's been doing it for a week, and he just crossed out of Texas into New Mexico.
Wow.
And I saw at 10:30 this morning, saw a sign of him and these 22 kids that are on his part. So three that they separated into three groups. Nick's in a Sierra group, which is going to go along the coast. Another group is going to go straight up the Rockies. A third group is actually going along the Mississippi River and then is coming over. And they're all going to meet with about 10 to 60 days into it. They're all going to meet and ride the last 10 days together. But at the beginning of August, Cheryl, my spouse, and I will meet Nick in Anchorage, Alaska at the other end of that. And they raise a lot of money for cancer research is what they're doing.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's a powerful thing.
Wow. Wow. How did he get into cycling? Is that your family something into, or just what's the background on that?
None. None.
Wow.
My kid is, it's so funny how in some ways he's not remarkable. I actually wrote something on the Stacking Benjamin site about this,
Yeah.
about doing remarkable things. And if you want to, I have too many throwaway days, like a lot of people do. Like I don't even realize it's a throwaway day until I've already thrown it away, day, and it's more fun watching TV or checking Facebook or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And I've been thinking a lot lately about having more remarkable days. And I think about my son who, I mean, and I don't mean this as a rip on Nick. Nick's not a remarkable kid. Nick, don't get me wrong, he's an engineering student at a top university, which is great stuff.
Mhm.
But, he doesn't do laundry as much as his mom wants him to. Whenever there's chores that need to be done around the house, he runs and hides like I did when I was that age. He likes to hang out with it. He's a normal kid.
Yeah.
And yet
Yeah.
something made him do this incredibly remarkable thing where he just said, you know what, 4,000 mile bike ride? Okay, I'm in. And Cheryl and I, his mom and dad said, well, but it's great when it's inspiring to your dad, When it's inspiring to your dad, it's a neat thing. Because I sit every day that he's on this ride, I think, what am I doing that's inspiring? How am I waking up today to do something that's as powerful as that? So it's cool.
That is incredible. That's a testament. Going back to your wife, Cheryl, I've got a two-part question here. And actually, going back to a few minutes ago, we were in discussion of how you transitioned from going from financial planning to doing your podcast, which we're going to go
Yes.
into here.
Right.
So two-part question.
Yep.
What did your parents think of this change? And number two, what did your wife, arguably more importantly, what did she think of this change in direction that you had?
My wife was. I'll start with that one first. My
Okay.
wife. My wife was with me when I started the financial planning business, and I didn't make money for several years, and I struggled to build a practice. And it was funny because anybody that knows that business, well, anybody started any business,
Mm-hmm.
there's that whole Malcolm Gladwell. If you're familiar with Malcolm Gladwell, he's got that 10,000 hours thing. Where you got to do 10,000 hours of the job to get good at it. And man, for the first several years, I was building that 10,000 hours, learning how to be good at my job. And then when the financial security came, it came very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So she's already been across that moat once. The good news was when I sold the business that I was able to sell it for a nice sum of money. I built it up nicely. So we had
Awesome.
this. Yes, we had this barrel of money to work from. But the second thing is, I think she's enough of a supporter of mine that she said, you really want to go through this again, starting a new business? You really want to do that? And I said, but it's me. She knows it's in my blood, and that's who she
Yeah.
married. So yeah, she's been great with it. And to see us go from a little podcast that had I remember we got it fired up that we hit 100 listeners for the first time. Like I was so geeked, you know.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And now I get geeked. You know, we had an episode last month that had 11,000 listeners.
Oh wow.
It's amazing to see the growth and to watch it. And you know, and every day it's something new around the corner. But I'll tell anybody out there that's starting a business, if you don't have somebody in your corner that or the people in your corner don't believe in you, or they're not on board fully with what you're doing, it's going to be really tough. It's going to be difficult. But because there were times, the first time through this, there were times when she's like, "Are you sure you're ever going to make money doing this? Are you sure this is really going to happen?" And I kept, "Yes, I am." Yep. And then she just needed that reminder a few times. My parents were surprised, but I've always surprised my parents. When I told my parents that I wanted to go to a military college in South Carolina, I'm a kid from Western Michigan, and all of a sudden one day I decided I want to go to the Citadel, the military college of South Carolina. But I'm a guy that always tries to push. I try to push the envelope. I try to do something. I try to challenge myself to do something that I hadn't done before. So at 40, when I decided to sell the business and jump off the cliff, they thought being a teacher was really cool. When I told them I wasn't going to be a teacher and I would rather work from home in a pair of shorts doing stack Benjamins instead, by then I think at this point they're like, yeah, okay, we're just along for the ride.
Wow, that's incredible. It sounds like a lot of crazy, impulsive decision making goes on. You know, it looks like it's commonly thread, from you to your son, and it's really cool to see that.
I don't think it's as crazy as it is a constant quest to do something that is meaningful and do something that is, this guy, Tim Ferriss, I love Tim Ferriss. Tim Ferriss says that when you wake up every morning, you should think about what scares you most and do that. And I really like that. And I think that's what Nick did with that bike ride. And that's what I did by selling my business.
Yeah.
But when I had this guy, he wasn't even really my boss, but I call him my boss. When Chris left the business and I saw somebody else do it, so somebody who was like a mentor to me do it, it made it easier. Made it, and once Nick saw that people had done this ride before him, it's okay. Other people can do it. Well, if somebody else can ride from Austin to Acreage, then I can too. So Nick, I think it's the 11th or 12th year that students have done this.
That's amazing. Again, as a personal fitness trainer, that scares the hell out of me, and I'll freely admit you won't ever find me probably doing that ride.
Come on, man.
Even if I wake up in the morning, that's my number one fear. I don't see myself signing up for that ride right there. Maybe someday. I don't know. We'll see.
You'll help train people for it.
Yeah, there you go. I like that idea better. I'll make the client suffer and do it.
Perfect. Great.
Joe, if we could now focus our direction into your podcasting and podcasting in general and your goals. I got a question here. This is a fully loaded question here. I hope it's okay. But let me ask you this. Where do you see financial podcasting in general? And specifically, where do you see Stacking Benjamins in, say, 10 years?
Well, I think let's even take away financial podcasting, start off with podcasting's blowing up. I mean, just the fact that you and I are doing this right now is something that wouldn't have happened 10 years ago.
Good point. Yes, absolutely.
So it's really exciting to see the number of people embracing new media. And that is a problem, and it's a good thing for me in terms of the new media. People are more accepting of a podcast. They'll come watch your video here. They'll come listen to our show, where people might not have 5 years ago. I think 5 years ago you said podcast to somebody, had to explain what it was. Yeah. Now you don't have to so much. Yeah. In fact, I haven't explained what a podcast is now in maybe 9 or 10 months. Where I had some, what are you talking about? Yeah. So that's exciting, but that also means this is now a business with very low barriers of entry. And like I told my clients that started any business with low barriers of entry, that means you're going to have to work harder. You're going to have to work smarter because the field's going to get really crowded. Like people always ask me what I thought about multi-level marketing, which is another, well, no, but
Yeah.
it's another low
Yeah.
barrier to entry business,
That's
right?
that's true. Yeah.
Because it's low barriers of entry. You're going to have to
Absolutely.
work hard. You're going to get a lot of rejection. People are going to be
Yes.
frustrated with you. You're going to have lies and other lies.
Uh-huh.
And I don't hate multi-level marketing, believe it or not. I think multi-level marketing itself is fine. I think a lot
Mhm.
of people doing it are doing it for the wrong reasons, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And podcasting's getting like that. I feel like most of the financial bloggers I know are starting a podcast like mine, and so that motivates me. It makes me wake up every day and go, you know what, my show's got to be special. It's got to be a snowflake. It's got to be it's got to be different than what everybody else is doing, and you know, and I like that. I like waking up every day saying, what are we going to do different with Stacking Benjamins that we did yesterday? How am I going to surprise my audience on the next show? And we've got some stuff that we're thinking about there because of that. It also makes me want to be more entertaining
Yeah.
because even, you know, I think a lot of financial people think of finance as boring, but nobody's going to do anything unless they're entertained.
Right.
Even when I was a financial planner, I was in the entertainment business. I'll tell you, I think some of my clients hired me just because they thought that I was fun to work with. You
Sure.
know,
I can
I could
relate to that.
explain things. I was fun to work with, and it
Yep.
had nothing to do with how I managed their money at all. It
Exactly.
just had to do with the fact that, you know what, it was well worth the time. They got a good feeling when they came into my office. So, and don't get me wrong, we still have to be good at the financial part, Taryn. We've got
Hmm.
to know what we're talking about on every episode. But I think if I can know what I'm talking about but make it fun for somebody to listen to, that's the recipe that will have us ahead of the game. So where are we going to be 10 years from now? I mean, I'll be really cocky. I hope we're huge. I hope we're I hope I hope we're massive. I mean, every day my goal, it's funny, my goal is to grow the show, but I see some people doing this that are so concerned about growing the show that they don't think about the best way to grow it, which is it's easier in any business to keep a current customer by making them delighted
Yeah.
than it is to go find a new one.
Absolutely.
So for me, the key to success to making Stacking Benjamins huge is to try as hard as I can every day to make a product that makes my listeners go, you got to listen to these guys. They're fantastic. And do we hit that? No, we don't hit it every day. But you know, it's that who's the philosopher, Plato, who talked about, you know, a chair is always this wood trying to be a chair, right? We're these podcasters with this idea of the bar up here of where we want to be, and every time we put out a show, we've got this idea, man, if I can hit here, okay, you know.
Yeah, that's true. What's your take on other financial podcasts out there? You know, in general, like, what do you think of? Are there any others that you know, maybe you appreciated or that you emulated after, or any others out there that, you know? What's your opinion on all of them in
Oh
general?
yeah, I know my show is. I really like this guy, Steal Like an. He wrote a book called Steal Like an Artist. His name is Austin Kleon,
Hmm.
and that's exactly what we did with our show. Was we
Okay.
stole like an artist, and what Austin means when he says that. By the way, I can recommend that book for anybody, no matter what you do. Steal Like an Artist is a great book.
Sure.
Um, he says that you know, nobody who produces anything they don't produce it in a vacuum. The best, most creative people actually took somebody else's thing and they put their own stamp on it and made it their own. Like Shakespeare,
I like that.
none of Shakespeare's stuff, Taryn, was original, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He just did it better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for us, like as an example, we sometimes will have a top five list. I got that top five list from a show called Film Spotting that I like, which is a good film show where they talk about the top five bad guys in movie history. We'll talk about, you know, the top five reasons you should have a emergency fund. So we completely stole that from them, but we turned it into finance. The beginning of our show came for the way we start the show. I was watching Stephen Colbert one night,
Mhm.
and I love the way his show opening just brings people into the show. So I changed our opening to be more like Stephen Colbert.
Mm.
Um, our show has a piece of it that we don't talk about,
Hmm.
which I'll let your viewers. I don't know that I'll let them in on the secret, but there is a piece of the show that most people don't find until they've listened for quite a while. And I got that from a very geeky show. I don't have time to play video games. I love video game media, and there's a show called the Major Nelson Podcast, and they did this thing,
Hmm.
and so we started doing that too. And now, if you read comments about our show, people say, "I really like that one thing," and I get mad because we always tell people that that one thing you should never talk about. So, so the fact that there's a hidden Easter egg too,
Yeah, yeah.
we stole. And when I say stole, I mean we stole it like an artist. We made it ours. So our whole show is just stuff that I like, and podcasts that I like. My favorite podcast of all is not a financial show. It's
Mhm.
called the Q&A with Jeff Goldsmith, and it's about how movies are made. And it's really interesting to hear about how these writers that make movies, how they work. They wake up in the morning, they work hard, and I love it because these people never get any credit.
Mm.
You see Brad Pitt on screen or Angelina Jolie, and you don't realize that somebody else wrote those words. And I love hearing their process. I love
Mhm.
it. It's my favorite show for process. Money wise, money financial show wise, I love Planet Money. I was excited to have the Planet Money guys on our show recently. And
Mhm.
talk about weird when you've got your podcast superheroes on your podcast. It's one of the few times I've been interviewing somebody and I'm going, uh, uh, I, I was so nervous. I was starstruck. Most people are like, you're talking to a couple of NPR guys, big deal. I'm like, but I've been listening to these guys forever. I love them.
That's awesome. Oh, that's so cool. Wow. So, as far as what's your take on? Let me ask you this: another two-part question. I think you scratched the surface on this when we first started talking earlier. But do financial podcasts help people? And if so, how does your financial podcast help people listening?
Um, Financial podcasts can help people, and as I mentioned at the top of the show, there are shows that are much more helpful than ours.
Hmm.
Way more helpful. Ours is meant to be just surround sound. So if you listen to shows of ours for a 3 month period, then you'll start picking up some of the terms, like we try to explain some of the jargon. We
Yeah.
try to give people a feel for what's going on. But once again, ours is to take money and make it interesting and fun. Financial podcasts are helpful in a lot of different ways. One show I'm thinking of that is a friend of mine, J. David Stein, has a show called Money for the Rest of Us,
Hmm.
and his show he's like a professor, and he for half an hour explains concepts in money, and he does it in a way that's so interesting to me. And as I'm listening to his show, Taryn, I'm thinking I could never make a show like his in a million years. Don't get me wrong, I know what he's talking about, but I can't make that kind of show. And frankly, I don't want to make that kind of show. But his is so instructive and so interesting. Planet Money's the same way, to go back to those guys. What I like about what they do is they will take a concept like Bitcoin as an example.
Hmm.
A lot of people don't understand Bitcoin. And they will start talking about how in the old days people would barter stuff back and forth. Then they talked about people not trusting the dollar and not trusting currency.
Yeah.
And they'll take this whole back door. They go to like one of these Renaissance fair things in a woods where
Uh-huh.
people are just bartering back and forth, and they interview people. And next thing you know, they're like, this is how Bitcoin works. I'm like,
Mm.
okay. So I love how they kind of backdoor information, and the light bulb comes on near the end of the episode. Um,
Huh.
our show doesn't try to do that. Our show, we start off with whatever's current in financial planning, and we just share some of the current stories that are out there in the media and what we like or dislike about them, and then we have roundtable discussions where we chat about, once again, more articles out there in the media. Do we like what they're talking about? Do we
Yeah.
not like what they're talking about?
Yeah.
Um, so financial shows can be helpful. Mine's not that show. Isn't that fun? I think it is. I mean, I say we don't try to teach anybody anything, but and I always pretend to be annoyed when I see reviews on iTunes or Stitcher that say I learn a lot from that show. And when we talk about those, we always pretend we're annoyed. But I'm not annoyed. I'm glad people are learning something while they're having fun.
Yeah, I must say again, I can only speak for myself and of course my father, who's a longtime avid listener. Now you've got him hooked. I mean, if anyone could get his, Dad, if you're watching, he's got a short attention span. So if you be able to, keep him hooked, I'm just kidding, Dad, if you're watching. But no, I'm serious though. I think you've got a wonderful show, and you've got a new fan out of me, and hopefully a lot of new fans out of the GoTarryn viewers out there in Atlanta, Georgia too. Joe, let me ask you real quick too. Speaking of the multi-level marketing that we just talked, I laughed out loud really hard there a couple minutes ago because I think we could do a whole 30-minute podcast on just that. Have you done a podcast on multi-level marketing? And again, you don't have to fully go into this, but I'd love to get your take on that, and maybe we could do that in a future show because I've got a lot of experience myself with. It's pretty huge here in Atlanta. I'm sure it is out there too as well.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I've never done a podcast on it. I would,
okay.
I would love to do it because I definitely have opinions.
Yes.
But just very quickly, my opinion is it is not an ogre. I think it's an ogre the way that some people present it.
Sure.
I think that people have been taught multi-level marketing something different than what it is. And also, people are selling something different than they should be selling. I like multi-level marketing when you're selling an actual product. I don't like multi-level marketing when you're lying to people and telling them work hard now so you're not going to work hard later. That's a lie. And frankly, the worst part of that lie is what I learned is that you don't want to not work hard later. Like if you say that you want to sit around with your feet up, every piece of philosophy I've ever read said you don't want to sit around with your feet up because you know what's going to happen? You're going to die.
Yeah.
You're either growing or you're dying. And if you buy into this, I'm going to work hard now so I don't have to work later, whatever that silly thing is, you're going the wrong way. I think it's better to say to yourself, I want to do work that I love for as long as I possibly can so I'm not sick of it. Which means then if it's multi-level marketing that you like and you are passionate about the product, then man, that could be great.
Sure.
But if you don't love the product and I'm just trying to get you to sell something so I can someday sit around with my feet up, yeah.
No, I like that, Joe. Your explanation there reminds me of. Have you seen the movie Office Space by chance? It's like the part when the main character, I think Peter Gibbons, tells his loser roommate, says, "If I had $1 million, I would do nothing. I would just sit around and do nothing." And I think the famous line, his roommate says, "Well, you don't need $1 million to do that. My brother-in-law is broke. He doesn't do shit all day." So it's the same exact concept, I guess.
My favorite line in that movie, by the way, and we do little movie snippets sometimes at the start of our show, and I think we just did it last week. Was when those two consultants come in,
the Bobs,
and they haul the guy, and they're like, "Seems like you've been missing a lot of work lately." And he's like, "Oh, I don't think I've been missing it, Bob." I love that line.
Yeah, that movie's awesome. For anybody watching Office Space, if you haven't seen it, there's your plug right there.
Everything that's wrong with work, isn't it?
It's so true too. It's scary. It's very, very scary how true that.
Any movie when you take the copier out back and beat it with a big. I don't want to do a spoiler thing, but that happens near the end of the movie, and I remember those days where I just wanted to beat the heck out of that copier.
I guess that's what you and I have in common, that we're our own boss and we don't have anybody to answer to at the end of the day. So I think that's good.
Yes.
Well, Joe, listen, we have surpassed the 30-minute limit. I'm sorry I've kept you a little longer than normal.
Right.
I promised you to get done here, and I have just blown away. This is like my favorite video Skype that I've done since doing this. I've just thoroughly enjoyed this. The last half hour has just flown by, and I cannot thank you enough for coming on. Before I let you go, if you got a couple minutes, can I ask you real quick, how can the folks who are watching right now get in touch with Stacking Benjamins?
Absolutely. Well, thanks again for having me, Taryn, because this has been a blast for me, too. I just looked up when you said it's been a half hour. I'm like, no way. Really? I could listen to myself talk for long periods of time. So the website, stackingbenjamins.com, we have new stuff on there. If you're somebody that likes to read rather than listen, the Stacking Benjamins blog that my partner Kathleen and I do, it has new stuff. We actually have a post called Want to Be Remarkable, and that talks about Nick doing his ride and me with the throw off days. Also, in the last week, we try to take stuff that's in the media. So we talk about the Caitlyn Jenner
Oh
controversy.
God.
But then we break it down into, so we try to do the same thing we do on the podcast, which is take some of the stuff that's in the current media
Yeah.
and get rid of all the stuff that makes you roll your eyes and go, okay, what can we learn from this? Is there anything at all we could learn from this? And, so that was in the last week. If you like listening, though, Stitcher, iTunes, wherever you get podcasts, just put in Stacking Benjamins, and we are pretty much everywhere. We're not yet. In the next 2 weeks, we'll be on Roku also.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so if you like Roku and just want to have your Roku on the TV while you're cleaning the house or whatever, we're not going to have our ugly faces on, but it'll be an audio Roku channel that you can subscribe to also. But
That's so
iTunes,
cool.
Stitcher, Stacking Benjamins is the place.
Wonderful. Very good. Well, one last question, Joe, before, again, we wrap up. What is the last suggestion or single piece of advice you can give to the viewers out there who might have a question about their finances right now?
Yeah, the most frustrating thing for me, Taryn, when I meet people for the first time, if I get frustrated, is people that either want to make it super duper complicated, and they just think that learning about money is going to be this big, huge ball of I'm not sure what's going on,
Yeah.
or people that just have no respect for their money to the point that they just spend money constantly and they just don't want to focus on it. Getting in touch with your money is not only far easier than most people think, it's so rewarding to finally take control of that one thing that can fuel all of your goals. Like, more money's not the goal, but money is the one thing that can fuel every goal that you have, and it's a lot easier than you think. So,
Yeah.
so get started. Whether it's with Stacking Benjamins or whatever, get started on your money.
Love it. Joe, that's awesome. Thank you so much. All the viewers out there, again, stackingbenjamins.com. When we fade to black here in a minute, you're going to see Joe's information on the screen one final time, so grab a pen and paper just in case. But again, I think we've already got our next topic. We got to bring you back on here, or maybe I can come on to your show. We could talk about multi-level marketing, because I've got a lot to say about that myself too. I've in fact interviewed a couple of people here on GoTarryn TV for market level marketing. But again, I'd love to talk to you about that. That's our next topic. If I can ask you to come back on here, that would be great. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thank you so much, Joe, again, for your time. Joe Saul-Sehy with stackingbenjamins.com. And Joe, enjoy the rest of your Thursday here, and good luck to your son. Keep us posted how that goes, and keep up the great work out there, too. And Texarkana.
You got it.
Close, right?
Close enough.
Thanks so much, Joe, and thanks, everybody, for watching. Here comes Joe's information here. Take it down. All right, folks, there you have it. His contact information there. Joe Saul-Sehy. StackingBenjamins.com. Joe, thank you so much for coming on today's video blog. And everybody else out there, thanks for watching this Skype interview. I was so excited and thrilled to have him on our show. I hope to have him back here again very soon. And also, if you guys get a chance, check out his podcasts. And for any financial help or financial podcast information, you know where now you can go. And that's StackingBenjamins.com. So again, we are so honored to have had Joe here on GoTarryn TV. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. In the meantime, if you guys can also take note of this website that you see at the bottom of your screen, www.gotarryn.tv, and click on that link. And if you haven't done so yet, I urge you to bookmark that website right now as a favorite to your internet browser, and tell 2 people about it today. A few other things that you can do if you haven't done so. Please make sure to like GoTarryn on Facebook, subscribe to GoTarryn on YouTube, and follow GoTarryn on Twitter. Until I see you guys next time, remember, tomorrow is going to be our Friday Circle of Praise video blog edition. Thanks so much for watching on this Thursday. Enjoy the rest of this Thursday. And remember, with GoTarryn Personal Training and Taryn the Traveling Trainer, the master of the personal training universe, who always brings you all of these great Skype video blogs, it's your time, it's your investment, it's your life. Thanks for watching GoTarryn TV, everybody. We'll see you on the next video blog, everybody. Bye-bye.